Welcome friends to Basement Bike Mechanic. On today's episode we're going to try to fix this the shifting on this cassette and the chain. We're going to replace both of them. I had already done some sort of an update to this bike trying to get the shifting right for it, and it just wasn't going through correctly. And I've already ordered a new cassette and a new chain to replace on here, so that's what we're going to do today. Replace those two things and hopefully get this bike performing the way it should for mountain biking. So let's get greasy. First step is to get this cassette off, and then I'm going to have to... Does this chain already have a quick link on it? Yes, it does right here. So I can replace the chain, replace this. So, matter of fact, let me go ahead and get the chain off first, and then I'll do the rest. Removable tool. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. All right. It's a good practice to replace the chain when you're replacing a cassette, considering how they wear differently. Heard that quick link. There we go. This chain isn't bad, so I may hold on to it on the side, but we'll see. For now, I'm just putting it to the side. All right, let's go ahead and remove this cassette so we can get this show on the road here. Okay. And, whoops, my chain whip. Let's see how well this comes off. Oh my gosh. Okay, it came off, just required a bit of coaxing. This cassette was quite worn, and I was trying to figure out why it wasn't shifting properly, but the more I did it, the more I started to realize the cassette itself was just pretty worn out. Alright, take all this apart. Oh, okay, I see. Got it. And then this thing is just a placeholder. If I can get it off. Yeah, this little plastic piece. And I see this little ring. I don't know if I need this ring, but we'll find out. Oh, yeah, looks like I will need it, because it's got little parts in between. So we got this one, that goes on this, and that would go in between. And then there's the last few. Alright, we'll figure this out for now. Okay. Should just slide right on. Let's see. Oh, I see. There's a little notch here that's wider than the rest. So I gotta line that up with wherever that notch is. There it is. Okay. There we go. Nice slide in. Okay. Let's continue on. Typically the numbers or letters face up. And this one I assume has the same thing. Yep, there it is. There we go. And now when you put a ring, if you want, then you better put a ring on it. And then another one. There we go. Make sure it's got good separation. Cool. And then another ring. Okay. And the last one. There we go. Alright. Make sure it has good separation too. Yep. Sure does. And the last few that I had on the side. Okay. It's a fancy cassette right there. Okay, sitting nicely in it. Final one. Where's the there it is. Come on, there we go. Sitting nicely, yes. Okay. And then the lock ring. Put a little grease in the lock ring. Make things right. Lovely. And now the tightener. Alright, it's on there pretty tight. See how she spins. Alright, awesome. So this is ready. Now we gotta get the chain out. Oop. Knocking my tools everywhere. Shimano chain, brand new. Okay. Quick link, just the alright, so that's that kind. Sometimes Shimano does one that's it's just one body, and then you push the two in, then the other plate, and you kind of bend the chain a little bit to pop it on. It's only meant for use one time, single use. But it looks like this one's just a quick link. Okay. All right. Now it's time to measure the chain to install it properly, which I'm going to do on the bike once I get this wheel on. So there's that beautiful chain. Let's install the wheel. Okay. There we go. There. Come on. There we go. It's a beautiful bike. It really is. It's a Trek Top Fuel. It's a good looking mountain bike. Sounds good too with the bearings when it goes through. You hear that? Sounds really pretty. A lot of small bearings in there, making the thing go around. So to measure a chain, to properly measure a chain, you put it around the largest cog, and since this one's just a single, you just put it around the only cog there, and you do not weave it through the derailleur yet. You just do it around the largest cogs, and once you put it around, you meet both ends. You want to put the quick link in as well, but once you meet both ends, you see where it sits where it would typically sit, and then you add 2 links, and then you'll be measuring your chain. Let me make sure. So Shimano should be on the outside. All right. Looks like this is the outside. Typically on a nice chain for Shimano, you want the Shimano lettering to be pointed out, facing out, which this is now. don't move. Now I gotta get the quick link on, just one of them. You only need the one to measure it. Okay, I got one of the quick links. You put it on one side, one end. Bring it up. And then we check. So we've got, this is the link it would go onto. So you want to add 2, 1, 2. And this is where you would cut it. Okay. Measured 3 times, just to be on the safe side. Okay. Flatten it out a little bit. Make sure it's going directly into it. First pop should have 2 pops. Second one may not be as loud. Oh, wild. The my chain breaker, which is part tool, the threading came out, so it was strange. Let me fix that real quick. Actually, I could probably just undo the whole thing. I guess over time it was coming out. And it's got the Loctite on it, so I'm surprised that happened, but I'll have to put some more Loctite on it again to make sure it doesn't happen again. Alright, anyway, that's good now. Beautiful. Okay, so chain has been measured. Now let's put it back through the paces. So once you've measured it, you bring it back down to the smallest cog. Let's feed this through. Whoops. Drop it right there. There we go. Yeah, feed this all the way through, back through the derailleur to get it ready. Okay, beautiful. Get that back on the right. There we go. All right. And we got one there. Now we need to put the other quick link on the opposite side. Put it back on the cog. Come on. There we go. And lose a quick link in the process. There we go. Oh wait. So inside, outside. Go. Bring them together. There we go. And then tighten them. There. Man. That's on there good. Okay. Chain is measured now. Let's check this thing out and see where we stand and see what adjustments we need to make. By golly, I don't think we need to make any adjustments. Try it again. Let's see. All right, up, down. Well, maybe we do. Where is my? Oh, it's up here. Okay. Up. I hear it popping, like it wants to go up. I think it's kind of a combination of the cassette and chain were not, the chain wasn't really worn yet, but it's always a good idea to change that. I think it was the cassette was worn out, and the hanger probably needs to be a little bit more aligned as well. But I mean, overall, the shifting was doing good. You saw it going up and down. The only issue I'm having right now, or at least the only issue I have with it, is that when some of these cogs, when it hits it, I'm hearing a sound, like a faint sound of where it's trying to move the chain. It's trying to move the chain somewhere, which tells me it might be being pushed against the cog. The chain links might be pushed against the cog that is on, and therefore making the sound like I want to move, but I'm just not quite there yet. So when I'm going to try moving it back up and to where I hear it, and look behind here, and just I want to see where the derailleur is compared to the cog, and if they're not aligned, then that tells me that the hanger is also not fully aligned either. So it might need to be adjusted. We'll see. Right there, I definitely hear some stuff. So let me get behind here and see what we see. Bring the bike around a little bit. Based on what I can see, it looks like the jockey wheel is pretty darn straight. It's not bad at all. I mean, if I nudge it a little bit to the right, I'll nudge the cage a little bit. All right, I'm gonna take off this derailleur and see if I can align this a little bit more, the hanger, and see where we go from there. I think it's a combination of all of it together. With this kind of hanger, it's really tough to tell how it's supposed to be, because to me it looks like it's a little off center, but I don't know. Top, I mean, it's not bad. Might go around the whole wheel and see how things look. At the moment, I'm basically grabbing this barrel adjuster, hanger alignment tool, and bringing the rod and just turning it all the way around with the wheel, and I'm staying in with the valve stem, because that's, at least I know that one area isn't going to change. If the wheel isn't completely true, then there might be some changes throughout if I don't always hit the same spot. So at least this, if you stay with one spot, that spot won't change, in other words. So anyway, here we go. Sometimes hangers are not easy to bend. Okay, I'm gonna go with that and see. Put that on. Whoops. Hang on a second. There. Alright, so I wanted to give a quick update, because I was basically just racking my brain why the derailleur didn't look correct. And I was like, everything just doesn't seem right. And I did some research of how this should look, and it looked correct in the image that I was seeing. And then I started thinking, well, what about the hanger? What's wrong with the hanger? Because it just doesn't seem right. Every time I tried to install the derailleur, it wouldn't install properly. It was so difficult to get on. So I was like, well, let me see where the hanger is. And then I noticed in the hanger, there's a little indentation in the frame that the hanger was not going against. So I got out my hex wrench. I think it was like a 7 or 8, and I pulled backwards, and then I felt it turn. The hanger literally turned into the slot. So I think this entire time, this hanger was incorrect, which means I don't know if that means that the hanger is now out of alignment based on what the adjustments I was doing, because I was going on the whole wheel. Hopefully that's not affected, but the hanger itself was definitely not pointed down like it should be. It was pointed too horizontal out. So I'm hoping that doesn't turn again, because I know you're supposed to, this should be locked in. I'm hoping all is well. It doesn't seem to be able to move anymore, so we'll see what happens. I'm going to install this now and see if things do better now. Alright, so I got this in the mail today, and I'm hoping this solves the issue here. This is a company called Derailleur Hanger, derailleurhanger.com. I use them quite often whenever I need a new hanger. They're really good, especially if you don't know which one to get. If you take a picture of it and send it to them and tell them what bike it's going on, they're really good at figuring it out for you. So anyway, let's see what we got here. I think it's an 8. Yeah, 8. Hopefully this solves the issue with the shifting. It's reverse threaded. Alright, that's on there. And that's pointing down. Before it was pointing kind of out. So that's already a good sign. I'm really, really hoping this is the answer. It's on tight enough. Let's put the, maybe this time it'll be easier to put on. Oh, come on. Trying to line it up properly. This little piece that goes between the B screw and the hanger likes to get in the way. There we go. Okay, there we go. And last but not least, come on, get on there. There we go. All right, that looks better already, personally. I've been playing around with this a lot, and probably for the past hour, trying to figure out what's going on. And then it dawned on me that I haven't played with the B limit screw, because I started to notice that the chain was having to travel pretty far to get to the first jockey wheel. So I went ahead and shortened that quite a bit to it was like getting really close to the first cog, smallest cog. I realized I still needed to have a new cassette, because the cassette that was before was pretty worn and worn out. Definitely needed a new hanger, because that was a little bit bent, because you could tell that it got bent from the derailleur has been hit at least a couple times, more than once for sure. So yeah, hanger replaced, cassette replaced. This one is not the new cassette actually. I wanted to make sure, I wanted to verify, so I went in and put on the old one, and it shifts fine, just not great, as good as it did on the new one. So that does tell me that it does need the new cassette. I even ran new cable, new housing. I don't know if this did anything. I do know that the original housing, when I was pushing the cable through, it did have some friction. It had like one spot in there with friction. However, that being said, when I replaced it and was running it through, there was a lot of dirt inside of the I guess where the housing would go through, the inner cabling, whatever you call it, where they allow you to push cables through. It has guides basically throughout the frame that I was using, and inside of that had a lot of dirt, so I kept trying to shove it through and just lots of dust. And after that happened, I put the cable through, and I noticed very, very little restriction, like almost like pebbly. So I'm assuming that the new housing I pushed through when I was trying to get the dirt out, that probably made its way into the tip, which sucks. But, you know, who knew that was going to be there until I started to push through it. Anyway, I am going to leave the new housing because the previous one was pretty old and messed up anyway. I do need to cut it to shorten it because all I was doing was just trying to figure out why the shifting wasn't good with all these new parts. I'm like, what's going on? So all in all, it sounds like the main reason was the B limit screw, which pushes the derailleur further away from the cassette. So I shortened that in. New housing, a new cable, new cassette, and a new hanger. All of these things to make the shifting good. Oh my gosh, this was a lot of work. I personally think he still needs a new bottom bracket, and maybe even the free hub needs to be cleaned as well because it just feels a little rough. Yeah, so at this point I just need to clip the housing to shorten it to make it look good. Put the customer's chain protector right here, put it back on there so that the cable housing will be hidden away nicely. And yeah, I think that'll be it. So cable housing, chain protector, and cassette, and then we'll be good. You've already seen most of that stuff before, so I'm just going to go ahead and knock it out really quick off camera and then let you see the final result. All right, I'm back. New cassette is now on. Housing has been cut a little shorter to look a little nicer. You hopefully can see that. Cable's been cut off, put the end cap on. Ferrules are all been put on. Looped up the chain. That was a pain in the butt. That was tough. I even had to get in here and inside the frame in order to work with the housing. But anyway, here's where we are. Here's where we stand. All right, that's all of them. I was able to go up, up, down, and keep going up, down to make sure everything got hit perfectly. Pardon the noise, the washing machine. Yeah, I think it's great. I will say, this is a Trek Top Fuel. I am not at all happy with how they do the housing for the cables to run through. It's terrible. They make the direction, the guides for where it needs to go a little too sharp, and so it puts friction on the housing and the cables. It's just not good. But anyway, that was a long journey, and I tried to make a short video for a long journey of getting this shifting working. But thanks for joining me, and if you like my content, you can like and subscribe if you want more. I'll be bringing more as I go. Anyway, thanks for joining me. See ya.